Okay, so today we're going to do an oil filter change on a 2006 Smart CDI. That's the 0.8 liter Canadian version. These, I can't speak so much for the gasoline, but the diesel versions are pretty much all the same. The oil filter on this is just a cartridge type, and so it's very simple to do. You'll see that it comes with an O-ring, and this is actually a Mercedes Smart filter. Quite often I'll use just a MAN filter. These are made by MAN anyway, as far as I know. MAN makes most filters for most German things. So, of course, back your car up on good set of ramps, make sure it's secured, park brakes on, all those sorts of things. And try not to have your doggy licking you while you're doing this. Okay, Jax. Okay, move on. That's my 120-pound Rottweiler, or Rottweiler. So, if you look up under the back, you'll see this is where your oil filter is right in here. This is your oil cooler. Okay, this is your bell housing the bell housing of your engine, and this is your transmission and your differential. So when you're looking up underneath and you're looking for your oil filter housing, you can see it very easily. It has this little arrow on here for tightening, and it says on there 25 Newton meters. So that's the torque you need to put it back on. I don't use a torque wrench for that. I put it in until it's snug, and then an eighth turn. If you're not familiar with the feel of how tight something should be, I strongly suggest a torque wrench for this job to make sure you don't strip anything. So this is a metric. This entire car is metric, but I'm using a 1 1/16 socket. I'm not sure what that would be in a metric, but give it a little snap like that, and then I'm just going to move my cushion back here a little bit so I don't get it full of oil, and make sure you have a container. I'm outside, so I have a nice tall container so that the oil doesn't blow anywhere from the wind. I'm doing this now away from my garage, so again, just loosen it off. It might be a little tight sometimes because the O-ring is a little tight, and you got to break that O-ring. This one is actually a little tighter than I thought it would be, but there we go. So now in just a couple of turns, here we go. Here comes some oil. There comes your there you go. You'll see how it's got a pretty good thread on it. You can see the O-ring right here by my thumb. That's the O-ring around there. And this is not the recommended way to drain the oil for the car. I've already sucked most of the oil out and changed it. I know it's hard to tell from this black stuff. If you lower the car, most of the oil will drain out this way. For those of you who don't have a way to suck it out, same as if you remove that oil cooler, most of the oil will fall out, more or less. If you let it drain like this here for a while, you'll probably get pretty close to most of it. I changed it about a week ago with a suction device, so I'll just top it up here again after. I just didn't have time to change the filter at the time. I know it looks pretty black, but diesels are quite often that way. So just see if I have a place to lay this. Like I say, I'm doing this outside, so I'll just lay this down here like this for a second, and trying to find a flat spot here to lay this on. Okay, so it just actually there's a little bit more draining out than it normally does. The car is not lifted as high as it normally would be. In just one moment, I forgot to take that O-ring off. So nothing fancy for this. This is just an old steak knife, something with a point that I leave in my toolbox for different things like this here, and just put the knife in, and try not to break the O-ring, just in case your new one you break it, something foolish like that. So your removed O-ring, take your oil filter. You have to give it a little pull to take it out. It's kind of snapped in there, so just give it a little pull and toss it in the bucket. Now you're going to dump the oil filter housing in the bucket. There'll be a quarter cup or half a cup oil in that. So go on, guys. I got two Rottweilers here trying to lick me while I'm trying to do this video. So now if you'll just take a rag, and just take a rag here. Again, I don't have a stand here. I'm trying to do this ad hoc. So I just needed to get this done. This old pair of jeans I got here for a rag. Clean out the grooves on the outside of the housing. Okay. And if you take a little bit of the oil and kind of just lube that ring just quick, it doesn't have to be that lubed that well, just a little bit so that it doesn't go in dry, and put the O-ring back down into the groove. Okay, you'll see the groove there very clearly, and just take your O-ring and pull it from the other side and pop it down over. It'll go down very easily in one movement like that, and your O-ring is on. Then you take your filter, put it back in. Be quiet, guys. Put your filter back in and give it a little push. Okay, you got to give it a little push. Okay, and then your filter's in place. See, it's already dirty from my fingers. And I'm going to wipe my hands here a little bit so when I go to touch my camera. As you can see, this stuff is pretty dirty. This whole car has been getting a lot of use. And then you just take your filter. Oh, I'm doing this with my left hand. Hold on. Let me swap up here. So just take your oil filter housing and oil filter and put it up in place. Push a little bit. You're going to have to push a little bit to get it started because there is a bit of a spring in there. And you can hear the O-ring going in already. Okay. Then move your bucket aside. Turn your wrench. Now, as you can see here, I'm using quite a long wrench here, so it has a lot of torque. So you had to be very careful. This is a plastic housing, which is better than aluminum and steel. A lot better. As much as we complain about plastic, this plastic is pretty tough. Now that's the bottom of the plastic housing bottoming out on the aluminum housing. That's actually bolted to the engine. It's not part of the engine block. You can actually remove the oil filter housing. You can see a couple of bolts in there on the side, right here. Okay, there's another gasket and O-ring in behind there. So just give her a little snug little thing like that. You don't have to jump on it. You don't have to go too hard. You will break it. Okay, and oil filter housing is reinstalled. Your oil filter is installed. You have a new oil filter installed. And with it up on stands, as you can see, I probably lost 3/4 of a liter, something like that. I don't think it's a liter. So when you put it back down here now, you will have to recheck your oil. Okay. And so there's your oil filter. Like I say, it's just a few minutes. It's actually much longer than it would normally take because I'm using the camera and trying to film it for you. And back up in the engine compartment from the back of the machine. If I can... Well, it was zoomed right in. No wonder it was so difficult. Okay. This is yellow topped. This is on the passenger side of the vehicle. This is your oil filter, your oil dipstick. So to check the level of your oil. So you'll pull this out here. Now as you can see, it's quite dirty. I'm going to have to wipe it. Just give me a second here, guys and gals. So take my old pair of jeans with a hole in them and you will see that, okay, diesel oil is always a little bit dirty, but give it a little wipe so you can see what you've done. Then reinsert your dipstick. Now, this vehicle is not level, so but as you can see, there's enough oil left in it to move it level to recheck it. Okay, so I'll just put the dipstick back in. The oil goes in this machine right here. This is your oil filler cap. It's on the top of your engine. Again, it's on the passenger side, so when you're standing on the back of it looking in at the engine compartment, it's on your right. And the right side of the machine or the left side of the machine is always determined as if you're sitting in the driver's seat looking forward. So this here is your oil filler cap. So I'm just going to start it up here, get it down off the ramps, check the oil level again, probably add a half liter or so to top it up, and we're good to go. And that is how a oil filter is changed on the Smart CDI. I think a lot of gases are the same, but don't quote me for that. I'm speaking now solely for the diesel models, and this is a 0.8 Canadian 0.8 liter Canadian model. As you can see right here, 0.8 liter right here. Okay, and that's how an oil filter is changed on a Smart CDI 2006 model. We'll do a little video a little later on to show you how to do the how to change the air filters. Have a great day.